What are the constitutional remedies to the existence of a Trump presidency, and which one do you think would be more likely to be implemented?
Well, there are two obvious remedies to the problem of a Trump presidency. One, obviously, is the impeachment mechanism, where a president and other officers can be impeached for treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors. The other one is the 25th Amendment, which is based more on the physical or potentially the mental debilities of a president. Between those two remedies, impeachment is probably the more appropriate, the more effective one. We've never had a 25th Amendment proceeding, and it's hard to know how it would actually work politically. But I happen to think that actually the best remedy for the Trump presidency should come through the process of elections. That's what we really want to defend because we believe in our constitutional democracy. We want to preserve it against what appear to be authoritarian threats to it, some perhaps coming from Trump, some from Russia. So I think in the end, to protect our democracy, we want our democratic system to work, and elections are the best way to do that.
Would it be a constitutional crisis if we used either the impeachment clause or the 25th Amendment?
Yeah. So there are two obvious ways to remove a president, and a number of commentators have suggested if we use either one, if we use either impeachment or the 25th Amendment, that by itself would be a constitutional crisis. I disagree with that. Those clauses are in the Constitution to provide constitutional remedies to particular problems. To make those political judgments would obviously be difficult. It would not be an easy matter. You'd have to deduce a lot of evidence. You'd have to work hard to persuade a lot of people, and it could be actually quite a divisive proceeding. But the fact is the mechanisms do exist. It's not a crisis to use mechanisms that exist in the Constitution. The crisis really hinges on the political capacity of the relevant actors to act in the way the Constitution expects them to act.
What would you argue is the real crisis of the Trump presidency?
Yeah. In my view, the real crisis of the Trump presidency is the very fact that Trump is president. Now, if I say that, that judgment could easily be dismissed as being inherently political in nature, to some extent, that's probably true. But I think there's a wealth of evidence that demonstrates that Trump is actually intellectually, temperamentally, psychologically incapable of being president. He doesn't absorb information. He doesn't seem to deliberate on the merits of policy. He seems to express his most cogent thoughts in the form of random tweets, for which there are very few predictions. The whole theory of the American presidency assumes that the entire executive power is vested in a single individual. For that system to work, you have to have a lot of confidence in the decision-making capacity, the deliberative capacity, the intellectual capacity of the office holder. And I just think there's so much evidence coming out that says that doesn't really exist, that's the real crisis of the presidency.